Yeah, your mic is still having some issues there, Lim. But either way, I'm fully capable of commentating solo for the time being. Limcube is the anchor of this call. I'm actually pretty new to commentating. Normally a runner, but thought I'd try this commentating thing. I'm enjoying it very much. But now that both players have woke up Mario, the run has officially began. Now the consequences of each runner's actions are at play.
Hello, robot checking in potentially.
Yeah, your mic is perfect.
Is it actually?
Yeah, your voice is so smooth right now.
Oh, wait, that feels like such a meme. I'm probably a robot right now, right?
You're good.
Okay, that's good to know. I just restarted Discord. Some weird internet issues happening on my side. So I do want to say, if Sui wins that again, that's actually because of me not counting down. But I mean, that's bad luck.
Yeah, so hopefully neither player has any mistakes in Cap Kingdom again. We saw some pretty big mistakes from Nicro. Normally, when we're doing runs, if you make a mistake in Cap Kingdom, that's just a very easy reset.
Yeah.
So in a race setting, oftentimes we see players making little mistakes that you're not really prepared to handle. It's actually both players doing everything very well, though.
Yeah, the big thing pretty much being left side here. We've seen Nick miss it in the last race, but now that he's got it, if we get through FMS, we will be having a much closer game in terms of early game. A much closer race, actually. And yeah, Nick actually memeing a little bit at the end. Gotta throw him some memes. Not hitting... I mean, sometimes you don't get the jump, and I actually want to... Oh, Nick actually got the jump. He just didn't get the cap throw. I do want to say, if you don't get the jump towards the pylon there, you can just spam cap throw, and the cap throw is going to give you enough height to dive still and not lose any time on capturing the pylon.
Something that I normally do if I don't get the jump is I'll still do the spin throw strategy that is fastest, the spin throw dive. It's just I'll purposely jump at the same time. It's a little bit riskier, but if you're used to it, it's not going to be an issue. Suisaiga now doing FMS, doing it very well. NicroVeda also getting it first try,
which is very exciting to see in a race setting. I think they are around, maybe it's like 2 seconds or 3 seconds that separates them at the moment, which is very, very, very lenient, as Strabos would say. I probably didn't even use the word correct, but it's it's totally... We've seen much worse. We've seen in races, if you miss like FMS 2 times, and then FMS can also actually end up dropping your cap dive. You can... It might seem that you get the trick, but then because the game didn't think you actually kept vaulting, but instead kept diving, won't allow you to cap dive again, and you'll fall into the water, and that results in like a huge time loss. So don't want to see that in a race.
But both of these paces by both players are something that you might expect from an actual attempt that these players might go for. Maybe a little bit worse. Maybe they'll be a little bit stricter on their resets, as some players do. I used to be very guilty of that, but a lot of players have brought to my attention that Cap Kingdom doesn't really matter as much as I want it to.
It doesn't, but I mean, it obviously, like, just in terms of a mental, like, psychological term, like, view, it feels way better to get out of this kingdom without any big flaws. So, like, starting up a 1 hour run, you want to be set up to do well and not feel bad.
Yeah, considering that Cascade only takes 5 minutes to finish, that's not that bad on resets to try to get a more optimal time that you'll be happy with.
And here we might see the clip actually saving noticeable time, yeah.
Yep, there's a perfect example. We're getting actually very good demonstrations.
Yep. pretty much
these
here we've
races.
seen the clip once again here actually being able to save quite a lot of time if you don't get a clean non-clip setup.
Yeah, these players are now perfectly synced up as far as the stream can tell. Their exact timers might be slightly different, but
Yeah. In terms of them starting at a slightly different time, I think like Sui's time is a little bit ahead. But very good showcase of the clip being able to save time if done well compared to a quote-unquote unoptimal wall jumpless.
we might be able to see some load differences here. Let's see. Let's see.
Let's see that one.
Oh,
Not yet. Actually, another
both
thing.
players
Fast
staying
action guide.
synced.
Fast action guide coming up here though, so let's see who gets it. Oh, Sui getting the better action guide. That's actually insane. Wait, what?
I think Nicro actually did.
Oh, he did. Okay, that looked so confusing.
Both players doing the fast action guide at the same time, I believe, but Nicro very slightly being faster. I think Suisaiga lost a little bit of time in loads.
He definitely lost time in that transition, like in cutscenes / loads there, and it was actually visible. Let's not get too much into it, dude. I can't handle it anymore. It's just way too complex.
With the 1.0 digital nonsense starting to happen, a lot of us have started to look deeper into load times. They're not quite as consistent as we'd want them to be.
Yeah.
But most of the time, actually, we've been noticing that Suisaiga's loads are, or at least in his PB, have been faster, just slightly faster than Nick's loads. Not too much, but noticeably, and maybe even consistently. But this kind of throws a wrench in that because Nick actually had a faster load this time.
I mean,
So
it might have been
I don't
caused
know
by
what to
the
think.
action guide skip or something. Like, we should probably... That's a good instance where we can go back and actually look at it. Because we did have already almost synced up gameplay there.
Now, I'm assuming that both players are going to be doing the same routing decisions that they chose last race.
Would make sense.
I don't see them switching.
It's also pretty cool, though, to show that off.
And we are now seeing the differences. We'll have to take note on any mistakes these players make. If they both do it perfectly by the time they line up, we might be able to get another example of the differences in the routes.
We do see it right here. Nick getting a pretty clean version of the Dram, which Sui doesn't even do it at all. So he definitely chooses this route on purpose because, well, interesting RCJ over the bench.
He was about to, his angle was not good enough to get past the bench. So, Sui going for double clip again. It seems like maybe this is actually what he's planning to do for these races. Nick probably opting for single clip.
Wow, Sui. That's a big deal. I mean, Nick gets single clip first try, but double clip first try is going to be able to save him around... I think at this point it's actually even 3 seconds if you get them this clean. At least 2.5.
Depending on the movement you choose to do with single clip route, I think the difference between them can get down to about 2 seconds. But yeah, it's definitely a big deal.
Now the interesting part is that Sui did decide to do the bird route, and he did have a very the notes route, and he did have a very strange bird pattern in his first race here. So we'll see how the bird is going to look on this very clean double clip, and if it's going to help him to get cleaner notes.
Yeah, hopefully the bird should be basically right on top of him when he gets the dune, this very small dune moon.
Which is pretty optimal to set up for nodes.
So Suisaiga making less mistakes and doing the more optimal route as long as he does notes correctly.
Exactly. And that's going to be interesting to see once again. So Nick did get a clean dram and double dram. Did he get... I don't think he got single clip first try. Did he? I think he did.
He did them fairly quickly.
At least fairly quickly. He might have had one miss in it. But if Sui... that's obviously...
Suisaiga not saving time with this route. Surely not quite.
Probably saving time over his usual sand where he doesn't do dram, because that probably didn't lose 3 seconds. But yeah, he is still probably going to be able to be ahead after sand. He's going to be hitting the globe earlier. which he actually started pretty much at the same. He actually started behind, so yeah, saving around 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds over Nick in sand.
Yeah, probably just because of double clip.
Yeah, I think they in the overall route tied because nodes were unoptimal, but those 2.5 or 3 seconds came off of double clip.
So now we're going to be entering Lake. Again, just like last time, there's not too many things to worry about in Lake. It's just mainly trying to not make as many mistakes as you can, not bonk, because there's not too much time difference that you normally see. However, since there's not much to go for, some players tend to opt for cutting some corners pretty tightly, doing some very optimal movement strats, which, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe Suisaiga or Nicro make some pretty heavy mistakes anyways.
I do wanna point out something, and that was just mentioned in chat. That really was a pretty great example of the route. Even though Sui did make some mistakes at nodes, it was clearly visible why it actually is a pretty decent choice to do nodes, because doing the teleport is actually pretty slow, and you also get locked into an animation after teleporting and can't cap for quite instantly. So that's nice to see once again. Also having that cool show of the wooded route earlier. And the cascade clip too, some cool, and also that action guide skip. Yeah, the two top dogs running is resulting in some cool comparisons here for us.
Yeah, so what they're doing here with the pillar is actually pretty interesting. The difference between both these players, if you noticed. Nicro does what I consider to be the faster way of doing the pillar. You are able to swipe at the pillar while going downwards rather than straight forward to the pillar, and that allows you to convert your speed after that camera pan transition happens a little bit nicer, or at least a little bit more consistently. There are ways to do it without going downwards at the same time, but going downwards is by far the easiest way to make it happen. And if you noticed, Suisaiga was not able to turn around immediately. So Nick caught up a little time because of that.
Suisaiga still being ahead, coming out of Lake, which is expected. Not too many big differences here in terms of their gameplay. This is pretty much the calm before the storm, though. We did see Sui probably losing like a minute last race in Wooded, and something that I personally have been struggling with, and I know a lot of people have been, when you actually miss Nuts clip and you don't get a chance to practice it, it really can mess with your confidence. Like usually all of the runners in this level are pretty confident on that trick. But when you miss it once, you're like, wait, what did I even do wrong? Did I throw Cappy too late? Did I backflip too early? Did I not hold the right direction? And that can mess you up really bad if you want to do it fast on the second time. So I hope he gets Nutclip here. We'll see it though.
Yeah, to be honest, I have faith. I have faith that he can do it. At this level, with the amount of practice that we do, we usually know what we're doing wrong as we're doing it. We can usually tell if it's a failure before it even happens, before we even get out of the moon animation. It's just a matter of if we get it in the moment or if you don't.
Yeah. All of us doing that route, even lower tier runners, have been doing this clip around 100, 200 times. So we really know when it does work. But at the same time, I mean, there's still sometimes there's like a random issue where it looks like it works, but it actually doesn't. But these days, it's so big. Especially, I feel like Sui is not confident enough to try rock clip, which I think it's a good time to talk about this. Actually, if you missed that clip, there is a backup opportunity. You can use a roll cancel clip, just as you use in swings, to clip through a rock, which we did when we initially figured out the route, and it also is way faster than the route Sui did last race. But it seems like Sui is not confident doing it because he did opt to go for the route.
I think the rock clip is about 12 seconds faster than the route we saw Suisaiga doing last time, the old route.
So this seems good though.
Ooh, still not getting it.
So the camera was kind of weird, but he was very close to the wall. The shadow looked like it normally looks, but apparently not getting it again. Nitro having some issues.
Yeah, Nicro is having some issues, so that's going to cut into his time gain that he's able to get from this route. There's many things that you can mess up on along this route that won't make it save the full 30 seconds, but Nicro is surely saving time nonetheless.
So actually that's kind of a good call, guys, in chat. So I have been coming to the conclusion that camera almost doesn't matter, but he puts the camera so high that it actually might change Mario's position in the moon cutscene. Interesting. I mean, I know he's capable of getting the strat, so he definitely does have his personal setup. But yeah.
And once again, we're getting possibly an even better show of the difference between these routes. Suisaiga actually being ahead before the route change, but now Nicro is far ahead. And again, they're taking the same amount of moons, they're just taking a different path.
Yeah, we did optimize this climb section after Pipeway so much back in the day, but we still see right there how slow it actually is. It is the main killer of the old route, and I mean also abusing the clip to get to very fast moons instead.
Ooh, Nicro almost falling off the edge there,
which would have been awful for him. We've talked about this. You would actually end up in the shop, which is like very far away from where you want to go, and then you still need to open the gate, which is one of the things we actually skip doing the nuts clip.
We actually saw Suisaiga dying last time, but he wasn't too far away. He respawned back at Pipeway, but if Nicro were to die, he would have spawned all the way back at the shop, which is very bad.
So one thing that really amazes me is that Nicro still is around like 25 seconds ahead now after doing that, and he did have quite a lot of issues doing the nut clip. Like, I mean, not the nut clip, but the out of bounds movement to get up to the tank moon section. So just once again showing how essential it is nowadays to get this clip.
Yeah, so seeing as how
Probably Nicro not opting for the faster up version once again. I feel like, I mean, he has been doing it, but I feel like in a race it's just a safe option to still fight the boss.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe there might be an opportunity to see the new route where we skip Spewert. We actually don't take Spewert either. There's 2 new route changes in Wooded. However, it doesn't save very much time. It's kind of like Sand, the Sand route change. It probably saves a little bit more time, but it's definitely risky.
Yeah,
risky.
You can consistently save noticeable time with it, but it comes with huge risks. And one of the risks is actually falling into deep woods. The other one is taking damage in Pipeway and resulting in like a 10-second loss. So it is a hard call to go for, but it is probably, you can probably consistently save time with it.
Yeah, the new route being, to answer the question in chat, the new route that skips Spewert is once you are at the top of the tower, you jump off the tower and vector all the way towards the nut around the corner, as it is called in the game, I believe. That's the official term for it. And after that, you make your way to Flooded Pipeway, as we saw in Suisaiga's route that he was forced to take. He didn't plan on doing it, but we can actually route in Flooded Pipeway again at the end of Wooded in the faster route to save even more time.
So, and also one thing I do want to point out, it was just asked in chat, but I'm fairly certain Nicro would be ahead of his PB right now. I do know that he has most of his time saved in Sand, and I think he just got a 1850 or 1852 or something split on Wooded. So right now he's actually probably ahead of his PB.
That is a very good pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the sort of pace I wasn't even keeping track, but now that you mention it, yeah, this is a pace that Nicro or Sui would love to have in a real attempt. So we'll see how long he can keep it going for. Maybe we see a world record in the stream, right here, live.
Oof. Imagine.
That's a strong ask, but it's possible. We've seen lots of race PBs in Super Mario Odyssey at high level.
Almost jinxing it on the spot, as he once again was about to miss the second phase and Cloud again. He almost luckily saves it though. Probably losing time, but not any noticeable time, maybe like a second.
Suisaiga doing something similar, doing a somewhat similar mistake, but also not getting very penalized by it.
Yeah, Suisaiga also infamously, like, his wooded usually is very good. It's actually quite strange to see him miss the clip twice. When I watch his streams, he gets it very nice, and every time he's on a good pace, he seems to struggle a bit here in Cloud. But at least getting through it, both of them getting through it. And Nick, even though he's losing around a second against his PB, he's still going to be green.
Yeah, no matter how skilled the players, a race environment completely changes things for a lot of people. It's a very different play, a very different play mentality that you might have. You might not choose different strats, but
you might actually. Like, I don't know if Nick usually goes for the wooded optimization right now, or if this is like a race-only choice. Because even though he was ahead after sand fairly surely, but that's like to be expected. I think all of his time step is almost in sand currently when he's comparing against his PB. That's something that you might do in a race. You're like, okay, I don't want to fall into the deep woods because this will probably almost lock me out of the race, racing against a skilled player like Sui. So that might be a small thing.
Yeah, I agree. There's not too many things in this game where making a change, like making a route change or like a decision like that for a race would give you much benefit. But there's a few decisions still. I feel like Super Mario Odyssey is definitely just a game of playing as consistently as you can. There's not too many things that are specifically difficult.
Not managing to get the block moon on the first try there, and he was already jumping down. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's probably the better decision to jump down and get the block on the way back, but that's losing probably like 5 seconds or 6. And I do want to quickly answer before we get into the next kingdom. I want to answer Mazurk's question. From the butterfly to the next moon in this kingdom, it is actually potentially faster to spin pound, but only if you make it in a way that spin pound is 1, very clean, and 2, you don't even need to dive. The sheet, the optimal time sheet, has a strat where you can just spin pound and then walk on top of the pillar without diving. That's faster, but that's like dumb scary. So longer actually for runs right now.
There's actually a way of doing the butterfly to the propeller moon that I heard from Acrid, another top player in this game, doing a spin pound roll cancel from the butterfly.
Oh, that actually
makes a little bit more height. And that will make it a lot easier to get down to the propeller without needing a dive. It's something that I definitely want to try out myself.
It is fairly risky. Then.
I haven't seen an example of it yet, but it sounds like a very good idea.
You can basically imagine the same thing that Nicro did in Luncheon the last time from the pillar, and he is actually bonking twice here, which obviously is resulting in around 8. At least he's actually probably losing around 7 seconds already because he bonked after the awning, which is even slower than just bonking. Which doesn't mean a dead PB yet, but that's a thing.
Yeah, bonks in this game are not too costly. You can definitely pick yourself back up, keep going, and as long as you keep your mistakes to a minimum, you'll still be on great pace. Bonks only take away like 2 seconds, and they're pretty rare, but you just need to make sure that it doesn't tilt you. It doesn't mess you up for the rest of the game. Right, that's what we see a lot of players. When you make one mistake, you make more, and it becomes a whole bad situation.
Exactly. Well, even though Nitro's comfortably ahead right now, he is hopping into the tank to fight Mecha Wiggler, and we've talked about this. Can still be a very, very punishing enemy in a race. I mean, in every speed run, but in a race you can't reset, so you can take a big hit from him.
Yeah. Again, we're probably not going to see any 3 cycles. We're probably going to keep it to 2. 2 cycles is what we normally see here. But even so, we can still see a very large time difference in how fast these players complete Phase 2. So it'll be very interesting to see how lucky and how good these players do with the patterns that they get. And Nicro finishing out very well, having a little glitch there at the end.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. But yeah, that's what you want to see. Sui setting up to hopefully get a decent pattern on his own. Very good setup for him. Probably getting a quote-unquote perfect Wiggler. It's not a perfect Wiggler, but that was as good as you want to get it in a run.
Yeah, both players getting very good Wiggler RNG, and both players doing well with it, not making very many mistakes. Making sure their shots are on point.
So I didn't quite keep track on what that Night Metro split would have been. He definitely lost time. I mean, I'm talking about Nick right now. And we do probably... I mean, I don't know if we need Bless RNGs for that one, but we did see him struggle with Scoot Clip last race. And this is potentially another big time loss. I think he lost around even 15 seconds or something to Scooter last race, or maybe at least 10. Because he did have issues backing it up well.
Yeah, if you don't get the perfect angle to do a drive-by, like we just see, Nicro doing it very cleanly, it can sometimes be hard to do the backup, where we see a lot of players getting right in front of the cage and trying to just eke their way around the corner.
Yeah, that... So right now, I don't know. Well, yeah, that is actually gold pace for sure. He got the camera manip. He did a very clean... trash moon, also drive-by. This is actually the cameraman. I mean, my screen kind of lagged, but it looked like he did it. I think he did it right.
Yeah.
So you can actually position your camera in a way after sitting down that we see the difference there for Sui. It takes a little while for the camera to pan. But yeah, if Nicro doesn't make a mistake from here, I'd call gold on this one. Wow.
Yeah, Nicro playing very strongly right here, dodging everything along the way on this new route. Taking a small time loss, spin pounding to the drummer, but maybe still gold pace for him.
I'd assume so. Like
Nick is on fire.
Sui, on the other hand, having issues capturing that pole, which it can be weird, but probably still saving time with that route. Also, hot spin point for Nick. I should have looked what his split was for Knight, but yeah, this is definitely still gold pace.
Yeah, just if I recall, Nick has a very similar gold to mine, which, not trying to brag or anything, but just going off of the mistakes that I know I had in my gold, he is definitely on gold pace.
Yeah,
he might be able to gold even with one more bonk, depending on how well he does all the rest of the tricks.
So from here on, I feel like the big things you can choke a goal to is the climb. I mean, we don't really see players like fall down after that dive anymore from trash. So I didn't even call that one. Wow, also getting a pretty optimal strat for this. He's doing crazy strats actually that I didn't assume him doing. Like also the cameraman, I thought he would just not do, but he did here. If he gets that climb, I feel like the goal is pretty much...
Ooh.
I mean, okay, I didn't jinx it because it was on the climb, but that probably lost around 3 seconds.
Gold might be over now. Still an excellent Metro.
Yeah, for sure.
Day Metro, at least.
He won't probably be even able to tell if he golded. Like, it doesn't seem realistic after that mistake, but everything else was so good.
Suisaiga making basically the exact same mistake as Nicro.
Jesus, though. Like, he's doing a lot of tricks I haven't seen him do yet. Like, also that spin. Did he spin throw there? I think he did, right?
Nicro with the switch in People's Room?
Yeah, I think he did, which
I'm
don't
not
see him usually do.
sure.
It wouldn't be fitting because, I mean, chat can correct me there, but that looked like the spin throw dive. Maybe he just threw very well and homed in quick. But I was looking at Su's stream at the time.
Yeah, same. Suisaiga had pulled off a spin pound on top of the tower, which was very nice.
Yeah.
You have to get a very particular setup, or one of a few particular setups to make that possible. Ooh!
Oh no, Sui. It is actually the fastest way to not... I mean, I still actually don't believe it at some point or no. This crowded alley is giving him a lot of
Suisaiga
trouble.
needs to get his camera angles straight. He can't see where he's going.
Okay, he gets it there. That was what he was going for initially, trying to actually skip any cap throws. I still feel like sometimes it isn't even faster than just flinging once and cap dive. But apparently it is.
That's the way that I choose to do it. I do the cap dive.
Yeah, me too.
And I think it's faster than doing the double pole swing, to be honest. If you do it really well and you cut it really close, I think the cap dive is better. But it's also easier in my opinion, so it definitely is one of those...
Sure.
It's one of those movements where it just comes down to personal preference in my mind. There's lots of movements like that in this game.
The thing is, you can't really mess up the cap dive, I think, and we see how you can mess up the... Like, that's actually a big loss if you fall like Sui did there on his strat.
Ooh, Nicro getting the triple jump set up very cleanly at the start of Snow. Nicro is on fire right now, playing very well, playing out of his mind.
What I'm gonna be doing for you guys in chat watching right now, because I'm pretty sure you are interested, and I don't know if Nick even knows, I mean, he's not gonna listen to this, but I will be checking his snow split in his PB. So once if he gets Snowdrim first try, which we all need to bless RNG for, because he did miss it last race. But I would be able to tell you guys if he's ahead still, which I feel like he might. Even though he did take losses in like Night Metro, that day Metro was super clean, probably like close to gold. So yeah, I'll be able to tell you his pace after this kingdom.
I don't think Nicro has made a mistake yet, even a small mistake in Snow yet.
Yeah, didn't look like it. Like if he gets a triple here, which I assume he will. It's only really from this point, like in terms of his mechanics and his skill, I'd really only look at Snowdrim from here.
Suisaiga missing.
Oh my goodness, dude. That was actually almost jinxed. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He almost actually fell down, but he did capture the Blowy Joey really fast. But my god, that was sketchy.
Nick not getting the optimal spiny. There's a camera manip strat if you leave a spiny there, but it's pretty inconsistent and weird. Other than that, absolutely perfect Snow so far from Nicro.
So we are focusing quite a lot on Nick right now, which I just realized, but we did focus a lot on Sui last race, and this is a very good performance from Nick. Sui, on the other hand, not being like awfully behind, obviously, so missing Snowdrim, which would obviously super bittersweet for Nick because this run looks very good, might still change the pace of the race. But right now Nick is playing pretty insane.
Yeah, like the optimal spiny that I talked about earlier is something that you can also chalk up to RNG. Sometimes it doesn't even allow you to go for it, even if you wanted to. So basically the only mistakes so far that Nicro has made are RNG based. This is a very good Snow from him.
Yeah, I have his splits open for Snow. In his PB, he did get a 35.35. So I don't know, looking at the timer right now, what that, like if that's still possible to beat, if that's still possible to be ahead, if he's just going to be even. Depending on how he obviously lands Snowdrim.
If Nick gets Snowdram, I think this might be world record Snow, depending on how fast his setup is.
In terms of just the split, yeah, that was like flawless.
Currently, yeah, I think Rhea holds the record for Snow. Rael's Diordum. Let's see.
Oh, that was an early spin throw.
Oh.
Oh no, the ledge clip too. That cap return was too early. And the rainbow spin. He
I
needed to
think it
delay
might
it
have
for longer.
been Nicro's Vector.
I mean, that
To
too.
be
That probably
honest.
was like a combination.
Yeah, that's a shame. I think Nicro's setup was just fast enough to potentially get world record snow.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh no.
Nicro missing Snowdram again. He's got to fix whatever issues he's having with his setup. It's now a very close race.
Yeah, while we see if that actually ends up changing the pace one more time here. I do want to explain you guys because some of you might not have seen it. But what happened to Nick there is actually he was so close on landing the trick. Whoa, that actually worked. That looked so sketchy. Well, actually pretty even now, which is exciting on the other end. But you
Honestly,
I just wanted to make that point. If you if I was very close on making the trick but not quite get up on top, you can clip into the wall through the ledge on a specific angle, which Snowdram makes that easy to happen.
I think Suisaiga is slightly ahead now. At least.
Yeah, I think his
maybe not.
movement on the way back, it looks pretty synced now. Yeah, he's slightly ahead, as you mentioned.
Let's consider them practically synced. They are tied at the moment.
Which is, wow, that trick in races is just such a big thing. Sui once again getting it first try. Nicro failing twice. That's obviously super sad. I mean, it's bittersweet. It's good for the race, but
Nick has said that he might want to mess with multiple different Snowdram setups. There's many different ones, slight differences that a lot of players choose to prefer. Also, that might be an instance of, might be some evidence of some load differences or mashing differences there. Suisaiga ending up being even more ahead at the start of Seaside.
Yeah, potentially actually saving time with meshing, but I'm not making any statements anymore on this, dude.
Yeah, it's over. Suisaiga is one of the fastest mashers in this game.
Yeah. You can hear it too, like when you watch the streams, like. Brrr.
Suisaiga is not lazy in the mashing department. He is one of the least lazy mashers in this game, and he gets a lot of time saved from it. However, we have a lead change.
A non-lethal one, obviously. As we see right there, I mean, not getting that jump first try is obviously punishing.
This is very neck and neck right now.
Once again, as expected, not any rocket floor shenanigans. Nicro, as we said, taking that lead off of the Gushen Moon.
Yeah, we can see this Gushen that both are capturing right now. Having to take the time out to go to the Gushen and capture it, as well as the Gushen's max speed being slightly slower than you can get with the Rocket Flower. That's where the Rocket Flower refresh strat saves time in.
And I say this all the time, if you actually run this game, and we see it right there, thanks Nick for showing that off, every time you feel like the seaside is going well, this underwater section can still punish you so bad as fish bonking is what we call it, which is bonking with the fish. It loses, I think, 0.7 seconds even, and you can do it multiple times in a row, you can do it pretty much everywhere, so want to be careful.
Yeah, also, Suisaiga doing it very well. Trying to be optimal with swiping to release the moons. You saw it once, we're going to see it one more again coming up. And then keeping your speed, regaining your acceleration, and keeping it after you've taken the moon is very important as well. Both players doing it very well.
If anyone knows anything about this kingdom, it's the man right here talking to you guys. This guy's been extensively researching pretty much all of this, so that's a pretty rare lesson you'll get. Insights for Seaside from Stravos.
Yeah, I think one of the worst parts of Seaside for me is actually swiping those moons and keeping your speed. I do it a fairly consistent way, I get. Well, I don't even know. I do it a very stiff way that seems to work out most of the time. But I might have to learn the way that these guys do it. It seems very slightly faster. and maybe more consistent.
But yeah, wow, heading into after actually once again Sui not getting Nut Clip, it's once again Snowdrim that punishes Nick, and we'll be heading into luncheon at the same time again. I'm not even gonna look at loads, dude. I just let it happen. The thing that I really want to notice, I really want to look at, is actually the first jump. I know that Sui, in attempts before he actually went on vacation, has been having issues with that salt triple, so let's hope he gets it.
Ooh. Very interesting setup that he did for it, but he gets it. Nicro as well.
Nicro did that jump like ages ago. He was pretty much one of the best. I think I don't even think I've ever seen him miss it. Maybe like once. But yeah, other runners having more issues with those. He's very good at it. I mean, Nicro's luncheon in general, I don't know if it's still the best overall, but he used to be very good at this kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking best golds, I have that.
Wait,
yeah,
my that's what I actually wanted to know.
Weird.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. At some point, I remember him getting a world record where he did get like a crazy luncheon at the time. I think it was a 6:16, and we've like never seen that at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's the best besides mine. Even
yeah, still to that day. Yeah.
And mine is a 6:14. I just skipped right over. I think I got a 4-second gold to do it too, so that came out of nowhere. I just got everything just kind of lined up. I didn't.
It was pretty much probably everything after forks, and I don't know if you did you do the dive forks in that gold?
I did half the dives, I think.
Okay.
That's probably I'm somewhat conservative with dives, but yeah. I feel like the main thing that helped me is my very insane turnip clip setup. That's definitely what gave me that.
Yeah, actually,
everything else was pretty standard, nothing really special to look at. Unlike these guys,
both of these runs actually going for your. I wanted to quickly say that because going for your way of doing that challenge room, of approaching that challenge room, there was a way harder, actually slightly slower strat where you would roll cancel after a spin point at the start. So Nick did change that to the setup that you've been kind of popularizing through the sheet.
Yeah, man, I'm safe and fast. At the same time,
but still very tight here. No, nothing major happening. Pretty much, I think this luncheon that it went like exactly the same for both of them so far. Wow, and both going for the ground pound setup. I actually do want to say, and I don't know if an optimal ground pound can be as fast, but like kind of a meme is to bonk against that pot, which actually allows you to get a fairly low moon grab, so you can backflip kind of fast, at least as fast as the ground pound. And Nick not opting for the spin for the spin pound roll cancel. They're probably wanting to play it safe.
Yeah, it can definitely mess with you sometimes. If you do the roll cancel too soon, then you're not going to be able to go far enough to actually land on the salt pile, but you'll be too far for the dive to land you in a good spot, so it can be very awkward.
This is a crazy race, and we do see Sui going for a more optimal strat here. I mean, both going for the dives, crazy clean forks, but Sui going for the cameraman at the start, probably causing him to be slightly ahead, actually leaving this. Because he did skip the first fork, which Nick didn't, but insanely clean forks for both of them still. And wow, this is like the small things that matter. Sui doing a normal ground pound there, Nick going for the spin pound, and now he's at least even. Wow, this is actually synced. This is legitimately synced. It is crazy. Wow, Nick going for the gold turnip though.
Oh, Suisaiga missing the turnip.
The way they've been synced at that like before the turnip was actually nuts. And both getting at least the turnip clip itself just fine. So still close, but yeah, missing the turnip ends up losing. Let's check. 5 seconds actually. That Nick is in the lead right now.
Still, anything goes. I know. Once again, Suisaiga is one of the better players at Bowser's Kingdom. He is scarily consistent at that. That is one of the most notable parts of his gameplay. that sticks out to me, at least.
Another strat difference. Nick hopefully getting it here, doing the vault strat there with the triple jump, which is definitely fast. I think at least around 0.8 or maybe even a second. Then doing
also
that,
diving into the spin pound there.
Yeah, sometimes at this level it can be the small things actually. It's what is being showed off here. But yeah, pretty clean luncheon for Nick for sure. Can't even recall I mean, he just does not go for the camera map at the start of Forks, so that's not a mistake. But other than that, it looked good, really good.
Yeah, let's get your bets now, chat. Who do you think's gonna win?
Yeah, this is
Nick
gonna be
or Sui.
This is gonna be. I mean, maybe Ruin changes all of this. No, I mean, we did see Suisaiga die in that kingdom before. No memes, but we did.
Again, I think my guess is that Suisaiga will catch up in Bowser's. Obviously, nothing should change their positions in Ruined all that much. I think Sui's going to catch up in Bowser's, and it's going to come all down to Moon. All down to last pillar.
Seeing a lot of Nick and Sui in chat there as predictions. But yeah, and I was about to say that because I feel like I'd give the edge to Nick in Moon in general. But as you said, Bowser's is probably where Sui has the advantage.
What do we even do if it's basically a tie?
I have no idea. I mean, it's probably going to be hard to get an exact tie. I mean, I don't want to be doing any retiming during that.
I think we just go off of their individual timers, because as the chat can attest for us, their timers are not perfectly synced with the gameplay we are seeing, so they are about a second apart. Guess we'll just have to go off of what their timers say if that is to happen. I don't know if Jerry has any other more special plans or not.
Well, at first we gotta get there, and we do know that Bowser's especially, and I mean also Moon. So many small things can change the outcome of this, like bonks and taking damage and having. Maybe actually Nick is gonna lose because he doesn't do the camera manip in Bowser's. Who knows?
Ruined. Again, not very. You're not going to see much difference in the gameplay, but there is still the fact that you have to take the keys out, or the pins, or swords, or whatever you want to call them. You got to take them out as quickly as possible. Nicro having a little trouble doing so, wasting about 0.5.
Yeah, that actually is like I think they went into this kingdom with a 4 second difference, and it doesn't even look this much anymore. So you might have already made up a second or something.
Yeah, Ruined is one of those kingdoms that nobody practices, but if you can be consistent at being optimal with it, which shouldn't be hard, just doing practice, like there's not much involved movement here to learn, it's valuable time save. It's definitely not something to overlook.
Yeah, that's another instance of just don't sleep on it. In some instances, especially for runners, and that caliber, like being by 3 seconds already is like a bigger achievement, and you can exactly lose those 3 seconds in that kingdom. So definitely want to be paying attention.
Yeah, I'd say the kingdoms for that are Cap, Cascade, because they're so early on and pretty short. Lake is another short one. Cloud and Ruined. Those are the ones. Don't sleep on them. They're very important. Also, maybe Seaside.
Oh yeah, no, actually Seaside is a big deal though. Like, such a big deal. I mean, for like at least the higher tier runners, because I want to make like a statement. If anyone is watching with like a time around 111, 112, the kingdom that is about to be happening here right now is probably what is separating you from getting that juicy sub 110. I've seen like literally 20, 25 instances of people feeling stuck at that specific time, but having like a 930 Bowser's Gold, because it's just it's scary. Like, it's scary. It's super late in the run. It's not even that hard. You just gotta practice the mech fight and practice being at least slightly more optimal during the kingdom. It doesn't even have much gameplay. It's
my advice for players trying to get a sub 110 is practice Bowser's to get consistent. Don't go for crazy strats. Go for consistency. Because in a run on PB pace, you need that. You need that consistency to carry you. And
you want to feel good about it because you'll be shaky, you'll be nervous, and that's exactly what Strav just tries to say. You want to be consistent. You want to feel good about what you're doing.
In this game, there's not too many things that will save you much time anyways. So failing a trick that will save you 0.5 will lose you 2 seconds, 3 seconds, maybe more. So definitely my advice for Bowser's, for aspiring runners of this game, practice consistency.
And yeah, I did just look on the timer, but thank you. I'm dangerous for pointing it out one more time. Sui seems to be around 6.3 seconds or something behind right now, which is easily going to be able to change from if he gets better shards. For example, Nick already losing speed there on the roll cancel. Wow.
Both players getting dive back.
Yeah, very confident on Sui there. He just didn't even look at it. He was like, oh, I got this.
Yeah, dive back is one of the scarier strats in this game for the top runners, or at least the top runners besides Nick and Sui.
No cameraman though. Dude, losing time.
Yeah,
but
it
actually
only recently got confirmed though.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we've been thinking about it, and that was kind of a meme from my side, but very clean shots for Sui there. That's a 44 on Nick's screen. And that's, yeah, he actually made up around 1.5 seconds just on that section. Only being 4.5 behind now.
No players opting for any Shaden Dram or anything like that. Both players also just jumping down to the pylon.
Let's see.
Taking it safe.
Going for the spin pound on the shop island while Sui does the long jump. But both are not optimal, but feel easier. Nicro getting a ledge grab there. This is like another instance of like a 1 second time loss. So yeah, the gap is getting closer and closer. I feel like if both of them get an optimal Harriet with like manipulation strats where you make her jump less, Sui might only be 3 seconds behind now, like 3.5.
And usually in runs, we don't see very many mistakes in the bunnies fights, but I mean, it's a race, anything can happen. Money's on the line.
Definitely.
Nick doing it very well. Sui close behind. Both keeping pace.
Yeah, and as I expected, it's actually around 3 seconds right now that Sui is behind here. So this is gonna come down to, I mean, it's gonna come down to the small things once again, if they were to both get a clean mech. And if I remember correctly, both of them having minor issues on the last mech fights. Nicro having a bit of a struggle to get the first bubble when Sui actually tried to get a fast hit on Harriet and missed, I think, 2 times.
Yeah. We're now entering the second half of Bowser's, as some people split here, some people don't. It is a very common split location, though, as it kind of works out nicely to be halfway through the kingdom. It's a very long kingdom. Lots of things to worry about.
Seems to be a 3.7 seconds lead for Nick at this moment. It literally, like, the small stuff matters now. Like, it's getting a better spin pound. It's getting a cleaner line. It's getting 1 roll more.
Nicro getting through the boxes cleanly. Suisaiga, little slower.
Yeah, and that's like the thing. That's the thing that separates them now. That's the thing that strengthens Nicro's lead. You can lose way more time of a big mistake, like dying there. I don't think anyone is hopefully gonna do it. Yeah, both getting over there. But yeah, it's the small things, like the strat that Nick just did there. So
yeah, both players doing a very good job with this Pokio strat. It's a very deceptively hard strat. When you see it being done, it looks like, oh, it must be pretty lenient, as I like to say.
I know.
But it's really not. It's a pretty tough strat.
You gotta have a very specific timing with the poke, and also the way you want to stick your nose in. But yeah, mech happening on both screens here. Very fast first hit for Nick, also very fast first hit for Sui.
Both players doing excellent backflip climbs.
Small difference here, Sui opting to go for another just ground pound instead of the spin pound on top of Topper, which probably doesn't lose much time there, but it does change things. So this is obviously the big thing. Hopefully both of them getting the hit here.
Oof, Nick making me panic a little bit. I'm not a fan of the strat he chooses to use. Both players doing Spewert very well.
Overall, probably the better mech from Sui here. His last hit was sick. He did probably have a bit more trouble on the first hit, but both getting very clean mechs.
Yeah, I think no more than 0.5 time difference between them on the mech, honestly.
Oh yeah.
This is an extremely close race. This can come down to Bowser fight second phase cap.
It might.
The last pillar room as well.
And I think actually Sui lost more time here than it looked like. We will be able to time from that multi-moon fade out pretty nicely. That was like a 30.6. And yeah, actually he's around 5 seconds behind now. It might have been because of the climb section, or the boxes probably actually. Mostly because of the boxes, I think. The movement Nick had for the boxes was a lot better.
Yeah, both of these paces from both runners are very good race paces, I believe.
Oh, sure, yeah.
These are top runners playing at their finest. Money's on the line.
I think this might barely... Nah, I don't think this is still 102, but at least low 103 pace for Nick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, to be honest, I should know, but I can't tell.
Yeah, we'd be able to see, like, as soon as Nick splits here for Bowser's, there's gonna be like a 0.2 what 2-2. So actually, yeah, never mind. 102 is still easily possible.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you can get like like the prediction. It would be like a 102.45 or 102.50. And yes, I am in fact German. Trying to get rid of this accent more and more as I'm spending more time in this community, but it's not really happening. But okay, actually, let's focus on this race because this is far from over. And Nick is in the lead right now.
Both players will be doing what's known as vectoring at the start of Moon, doing triple jump and turning left and right to get a little bit more momentum by the way the game is coded.
Sui getting a probably slightly better angle there on his vector to start the rolling part.
Yeah, it's these little things.
No bonking on Moon memes here. Hopefully both getting... Oh, wow. And that...
Sui.
Yeah, that's massive. That is
Sui trying to really cut it close there, ending up not getting the double flower.
Which puts Nicro pretty confidently in the lead here. If he just plays it quote-unquote safe, but like a Bowser cycle, and once again, Pillar Room.
At this rate, I think a really bad Pillars from him might even it up again, or a really bad Bowser fight with probably second phase would be the one to do it. So either or might be enough.
This is basically a 10 seconds lead for Nick. If he misses one phase in this fight, Sui can take the lead. Which is, by the way, this is exactly the difference we had last race. So, pretty crazy stuff here. Pretty much comes down, like, no matter what happens, this will come down once again, like, if you look at the big picture, once again to Sui failing to get Nut Clip and Nick failing to get a fast Snowdram. Getting second phase, which is the one he's been struggling with, so being over with that one is nice for him.
Yeah, this is definitely Nick's race to lose right now.
Yeah. This point
All the power is in his control. The major last thing to worry about, unless he...
Sui, actually, I didn't even catch that. I think he actually lost his second phase there, yeah. He did. So at this point, it's pretty much only to skip if Nick gets that cycle here, gets the first hit here, and he does.
I think the only way that Nick loses right now is if he misses 2D skip.
Pretty much. And this is a good time to remind you guys this. If this would be the result, it would result in a ultimate deciding match, the third game of the best of 3, as Sui actually did take the win on the first race. But he still needs to get through to D-skip to make that happen.
Yeah,
I have a lot of confidence.
Lots of players have been known to also fumble on 2D skip, not fail it, but have to take multiple tries, like upwards of 5 even sometimes. We'll see if the pressure gets to Nick at all. It can still have Sui win this one.
Especially on the second jump, that's the one you want to be looking at. Like, that's the one you want to get over with quick. If you fail the first one, you die. But the second one can be failed multiple times in succession. And still not, still might live. Yeah, he played it very calculated. He slowed down. You saw him slow down there a bit, not having issues.
Yeah, Nick going very cleanly. Aside from Nick's controller disconnecting, I think he wins this.
Yeah. I mean, there's the one thing, and I've been constantly talking about, I'm still waiting for that race where it happens. There is the super off chance, and I think it's kind of in your power to get that. But if you like hit the block, like the big moon rock in the middle while the last pillar falls, you can get like, it's not a soft block, but the game prevents you from going towards the main block in the middle, and you need to like slap him from afar. It's really weird. It's very rare, and I won't see that happening. And Nick getting very good start for pillar room.
Yeah. Okay, so my idea with that issue is I never want to shoot a fireball while the last pillar is falling. Yeah. I never want to at all. I think it might even be fastest to just jump in and start clawing right away. Anyways, so I don't think there's even a need to do a fireball as long as you're keeping optimal. But that's it. Nick takes round 2.
102.40.
Very good race time.
And I think Sui just slightly missed the 102. He's probably going to end up at like a 103.8, 6, something, 4. Now this is actually going to be like a 103.3, I think. I'm bad.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That all comes down to Sui would have also been very close behind. He could have won it just with small optimizations. It just comes down to how consistent or how nervous you are these races. Moon is no joke. Oftentimes we overlook it, but every kingdom matters.
Definitely. If you guys have some convoys, show Nick some love. He did recover on this one, so we will see the ultimate deciding third match. I will need to take at least a like 40 seconds break to get something to drink because my voice is getting dry. Nick and Sui will also be setting up, so I think Jerry might join in here for a second. And thank you guys for being so awesome, by the way. I'll be back in a second.
So, pretty hype race. I mean, what's even more hype is we got Lime Cube and Stravos on the mic. Be sure to show these guys some love. Be sure to show everyone some love. So, let's plug the racers and commentators for you guys.
Yeah. Show some love to Lime Cube.
So yeah, Stravos, what's going on in your mind when you see these two amazing racers? I mean, you being a little bit more experienced than Lim Cube in the running, in the racing. What's going on in your mind when you see these two?
To me, I think both players are playing really well right now. It's just Suisaiga is making mistakes on Nutclip, and Nicro is making mistakes on Snowdram. Those are probably equal mistakes as long as you don't miss Snowdram twice. anyways. But they're pretty similar mistakes, pretty similar hard tricks that you need to practice a lot of. Both players seem to have consistent issues here. If one of them's able to fix their issue,
Oh yeah,
I think
for
that
sure,
might decide it.
Chat told me to turn on my mic. I hope it's not too